Sighed Maisie, a lazy bird hatching an egg. I'm tired, I'm bored, and have kinks in my leg. From just sitting here day after day. It's work, how I hate it, I'd much rather play. I'd take a vacation, fly off for a rest. If I could find someone to stay on my nest. If I could find someone, I'd fly away free. Then Horton, the elephant, passed by her tree. Hello, called the lazy bird, smiling her best. I have nothing to do, and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on the egg in my nest? The elephant laughed. Why, of all silly things, I haven't the feathers, I haven't the wings. Me on your egg? My, that doesn't make sense. Your egg is so small, and ma'am, I'm so immense. Tut tut, answered Maisie, I know you're not small, but I'm sure you could do it, no trouble at all. Just sit on it softly, you're gentle and kind. Come, be a good fellow, I know you won't mind. I can't, said the elephant. Please, begged the bird. I won't be gone long, sir. I'll give you my word. I'll hurry right back. Why, I'll never be missed. Very well, said the elephant, since you insist. You want a vacation? Go fly off and take it. I'll sit on your egg and I'll try not to break it. I'll stay and be faithful. I mean what I say. Toodaloo, sang out Maisie and fluttered away. First thing to do is prop up this tree and make it much stronger. This has to be done. Before I get on it, I must weigh a ton. Then carefully, tenderly, gently he crept up the trunk to the tree where the little egg slept. Then Horton the elephant smiled. Now that's that. And he sat, and he sat, and he sat, and he sat. And he sat all that day, and he kept the egg warm, and he sat all night through a terrible storm. It poured and it lighteninged, and it thundered and it rumbled. This ain't much fun, the poor elephant grumbled. I wish he'd come back, 'cause I'm cold and I'm wet. I hope that bird Maisie just doesn't forget. But Maisie by this time was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach, and having such fun, such a wonderful rest, she decided she might not go back to her nest. So Horton kept sitting there day after day, and soon it was autumn, and the leaves blew away. Then came the winter, the snow and sleet, the icicles hung from his trunk and his feet. But Horton kept sitting, and he said with a sneeze, I'll stay on this egg, and I won't let it freeze. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through, and then came springtime with troubles anew. His friends gathered round, they shouted with glee, Look, Horton the elephant's up in a tree. They taunted, they teased him, they yelled, How absurd, old Horton the elephant thinks he's a bird. They laughed, and then all ran away, and Horton was lonely, he wanted to play. But he sat on the egg, and he continued to say, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. No matter what happens, this egg must be tended. But poor Horton's troubles were far, far from ended. For while Horton sat there, so faithful, so kind, 3 hunters came sneaking up softly behind. He heard the men's footsteps. He turned with a start. 3 rifles were aiming right straight at his heart. Did he run? He did not. Horton stayed on that nest. He held his head high and he threw out his chest. And he looked at the hunters, as much as to say, Shoot if you must, but I won't run away. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. But the men didn't shoot, much to Horton's surprise. They dropped their 3 guns, and they stared with wide eyes. Look, they all shouted, how can such a thing be? An elephant sitting on top of a tree. It's strange, it's amazing, it's wonderful new. Don't shoot him, we'll catch him. That's what we'll do. Let's take him alive. Well, he's terribly funny. We'll sell him back to the circus for money. And the first thing he knew, they had built a big wagon with ropes on the front for the pullers to drag in. They dug up his tree and they put it inside, with Horton so sad he practically clad. We're off, the men shouted, and off they went, with Horton unhappy, 100%. Up out of the jungle, up into the sky, over the mountains 10,000 feet high, then down the mountains, down to the sea, went the cart with the elephant, egg, nest, and tree. Then out of the wagon onto a ship, out over the ocean, and oh, what a trip. Rolling and tossing and splashed with the spray, and Horton said day after day after day, I said what I meant, and I said what I meant, but oh, I'm seasick 100%. After bobbing around for 2 weeks like a cork, they landed at last in the town of New York. All ashore, the men shouted, and down with the lurch went Horton the elephant, still on his perch. Tied onto a board, they could scarcely hold him. Bump! Horton landed, and then the men sold him. Sold to a circus. Then week after week, they showed him to people at 10 cents a peek. They took him to Boston, to Kalamazoo, Chicago, Waukegan, and Washington too, to Dayton, Ohio, St. Paul, Minnesota, Wichita, Kansas, and Drake, North Dakota. And everywhere thousands of people flocked to see, and they laughed at the elephant up in a tree. But Horton grew sadder the farther he went. But he said, as he sat in the hot, noisy tent, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. Then one day the circus show happened to reach a town way down south, not so far from Palm Beach. And dwaddling a long way up high in the sky, who of all people should chance to fly by but that old good-for-nothing bird, Runaway Maisie, still on vacation and still just as lazy, and spying the flags and tents just below. She sang out, "What fun! I'll go to the show." She swooped from the clouds and through the open tent door. "Good gracious," gasped Maisie, "I've seen you before." Poor Horton looked up, with a face white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, there rang out the noisiest, ear-splitting squeaks from the egg that he'd sat on for 51 weeks. A thumping, a bumping, a wild, alive scratching. "My egg!" shouted Horton. "My egg! Why, it's hatching!" "But it's mine!" screamed the bird, when she heard the egg crack. The work was all done, now she wanted it back. "It's my egg!" she sputtered. "You stole it from me! Get off of my nest and get out of my tree!" But Horton backed down, with a sad, heavy heart. At that instant, the egg burst apart, and out of the pieces of red and white shell, from the egg that he'd sat on so long and so well, Horton the elephant saw something whiz. It had ears, had a tail, and a trunk just like his. And the people were shouting, "What's this all about?" They looked and they stared with their eyes popping out. Then they cheered and they cheered and they cheered more and more. They'd never seen anything like it before. "My goodness, my gracious," they shouted, "my word, it's something brand new. It's an elephant bird." And it should be like that, because Horton was faithful. He sat and he sat, and he meant what he said, and he said what he meant. And they sent him home, happy 100%.